Sessions Cafe with your host, Keri D. Singleton.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions Cafe. I'm your host, Keri D. Singleton, and today I have the honor of sitting across from the legendary Tic Tock himself, David Tic Tock Nervil. Welcome to the show, boss.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Thank you for showing up and blessing the studio with your presence. We're going to get right into it, brother.
All right.
First thing I want to ask you is what I think is probably the obvious. How'd you get the name Tic Tock?
I'll try to keep it a short story.
Just tell me like it is.
I was 16,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I have over like about 40 years in the industry. I've been like 30 years I've been TikTok. But at 16, before I was 16, you know, 16-year-olds, I had all these crazy names like BB, X Extreme, and Unique and stuff.
Right.
Like I even called myself Casanova at one point in time.
That's overused.
But what happened was my dance style, I pop a lot.
Okay.
And back in the days, they used to call it ticking. Some people still call it ticking.
Correct.
You know, but you know, I used to pop a lot, and that's pretty much the cornerstone of my style. So one day, you know, I was sitting in a old school lunch cafeteria. With Poker, you had him as a guest, my brother.
Yep.
You know, we were sitting together, and he was like, my name was Unique at the time.
Okay.
And he was like, you know, that's a girl name. You know, you need something that
with a
punch
bang,
a little bit more. And we were sitting down, and you know those old cafeteria clocks, you know, and we was quiet, and I was hearing it, and I look up at the clock, and I saw the second hand, and I was like, I move like that. I move like the second hand on the clock. Like ticking.
Like ticking.
Yeah. So I was like, Tic Tock.
That's dope.
That was since I was 16. At 19, I got it trademarked.
Okay.
And I own the spelling TICTOCK.
Okay.
I own that. I trademarked that spelling at 19, and that's been it. Even the IRS recognized that name.
Smart guy, brother. You got in early. You mentioned ticking, and that's interesting because it goes into my next question. I believe it or not, I know things didn't change with the physicality, but my first love as far as entertainment was dancing.
Okay.
I was in a dance group back in Roxbury. We kind of modeled ourselves after New Edition, of course, because New Edition's also from Roxbury. We called ourselves the Sly Five. Hey. And so I really developed a love for dance that has never transcended, really. And so I was very familiar with the core of dance, street dance anyway, around the time that breaking came out, you know what I mean? So I became a huge fan of Janet Jackson and the whole Rhythm Nation thing and blah, blah, blah. Some of the dopest videos ever made, you know, by artists were made in that era, from the late 80s to like the mid 90s, I would say. So I'm familiar, but I want my guests to be familiar as well. You talked about popping, right?
Yes.
Now there's different dance styles. Popping, I feel like, was made famous globally from the movie Breaking, right? Would you agree with that? Globally, I'm saying.
Globally,
it was made famous.
I would more say Beach Street.
Beach Street, okay.
I would say more Beach, because Beach Street really hit all the elements of hip hop.
Right.
You know, but if you want to go particularly with the dance
though.
specifically, I would say you know, Breaking and Electric Boogaloo, Breaking 2, really focused on the dance.
Right.
But the overall impact, I would say, is Beach Street, because it hit all elements. It hit the graffiti element. It hit the MCing element. It hit the rapping element. It hit all elements of hip hop and show how all 5 elements coincide with each other.
No, but specifically, I was talking
with
about
the dancing wise,
and with popping specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Turbo.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, all those people that was in part of the breaking era. Yeah, totally. That was Breaking and Breaking 2, and a documentary called Wild Style. Later
Wild
on.
Style predated those two movies, but I was just saying, you know, that Breaking specifically made popping, because there are others. There's waving, there's light feet, there's gliding, and you're proficient in all 3.
Yeah, I call myself a dance mutt.
A dance mutt, right? What does that mean?
To me, it means that every dance style I ever come across, I turn it into my style.
Okay.
So within my dancing, I would say my foundation is hip hop inspired.
Right.
But I can't call myself just a hip hop dancer,
Right.
or a jazz dancer, or a funk dancer, because I take everything and make it hip hop.
Wow.
You understand?
Put it together like a
I put it together.
Yeah.
So if you see me dance and you see footage, you might see a ballet step in there.
Wow.
You might see a jazz step in there. You might see a tap step in there. You might see some stepping. You might see some African.
Right.
And I don't care what the music is playing. It's just what the soul tells me to do.
Right.
So I don't stay in that dance style cage.
Correct.
You know, so I call myself a mutt because I go with what I feel. I don't go by what's supposed to be.
Right.
You know,
Well,
if I'm in a house club, I'll dance hip hop steps in a house club, and then I'll be in a hip hop club doing house steps. You know, it's just whatever matches the music and what my soul tells me to do. So in that regard, I call myself a mutt because every form of dance that I come across, I turn it into something that's me. That's my unique.
Right. So the popping, the waving, the light feet, the gliding, those are different styles
of hip hop
that you incorporate of dance. Let's be specific. We're talking about dance here.
Yeah.
And you incorporate all of those and more into your routines.
Yeah, everything.
That's what's up, bro.
Routines, freestyle, whatever I'm doing, whatever creativity. Freestyle is off the top of the head, so it's not even a thought. You know, it's just my soul. So if I'm out in the cypher just dancing and letting it go, I don't even know what I'm about to do. You know, but when it comes to my choreographed piece, yes, I take from everything when I fully think about what I'm about to do, which that's what choreography is.
Correct.
That I incorporate everything I know from whatever I feel fits the sound or the music that I'm choreographing to. And that pulls from everything.
It's like being an architecture of dance.
Yeah.
Like you're putting the building blocks together to build this building that is the routine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you've worked with a plethora of artists, man, and a pretty impressive list of artists, I might add. You've worked with, and we're gonna, detail some of them, not all of them, and the work that you've done with them individually. You've worked with Jay-Z.
Yes.
You've worked with Missy Elliott.
Yes.
Whitney Houston, Maya, Joe, Busta Rhymes, and Wyclef, just to name a few.
Yes.
Right. So I want to know, of the projects that I just named, of the artists that I just named, what were some of the projects that you worked with those individual people? Were they music videos? Were they live performances?
Well, most of my career is live performance based.
Okay.
Jay-Z, I went on the Rock the Mic tour with Jay-Z.
Dope.
Busta Rhymes, I did an award show on Radio City Hall.
Nice.
Who else you mentioned? Whitney Houston, I did the step-by-step video, music video. Maya, I went on tour with her. I didn't do no video work with her, but I was on a domestic tour with her in the United States. Joe, I would say Joe is a longtime friend and the longest running artist I've been with, but yet again, only live shows.
Okay.
We've been overseas, multiple countries. He's a friend. It was more of a business. It was more the business with Joe and that whole camp.
So let me interrupt you. Let me ask you this. You've done a lot of touring.
Yes.
What is tour life like as a dancer? What is that like? Like, what does it entail?
Well, it's all based on the artist you go out with. If you're going out with, like for example, Mary J. Blige. If you were on tour with her earlier in her career, then that was after parties, drinking, alcohol, just dealing with groupies afterwards and everything. But then she found God, and now going on tour with her is holier than thou. You better not be in the club, like that. So the touring experience is really based on who you're going out on tour with. If you're going out with a rapper, then you're gonna get some rap things going on. You're going out with an R&B artist, it's gonna be more mellow, more elegant. So I've been on tour with both. Right. So there's the tours that was intense and had a lot of hip hop energy and that aggressive aura, energy. People playing CeeLo in backstage and everything like that. And then I've been where it's real refined, nice women in back. You part of the entourage and stuff like that. Yet again, my best touring experience was with Joe.
Okay.
Because it was more than business.
Right.
We were friends.
So,
you know.
So let me ask you this. I wanted you to kind of take me behind the scenes in terms of the sleep. How much sleep do you get? How much? How often are you able to eat? How much, time do you get to rehearse? Those type of technical components.
With most tours, if it's a major artist, most tours is well prepped before we even leave.
Okay.
So all the routines, unless some artists like to push themselves, like a Marion, he changes the show on the fly because he's a dancer himself.
Right.
So he likes to evolve the show on tour.
He likes to change things up, yeah.
But most artists practice about 20 to 30 hours of getting locking the show together before we even leave.
Okay.
And once the show is locked, it's like locked in, and that's what it is. Now, as far as losing sleep and all that, that's all about how hectic the tour is.
Okay.
Once again, there could be a tour where we only going to 5 shows and we out for a month, or it could be out for 6 months and we're doing 2-3 shows a week.
Wow.
Or it could be a tour like Jay-Z where we was doing a show every other day. Wow. So we would do the show, get back on the tour bus, go to another state, go out, and in those instances, there is not much sleep.
Right.
You go on a tour, you finish the show, you go in, you sleep, and that's that. And you try to go to 1 or 2 after parties because you part of, as a dancer, you part of the entourage.
Exactly.
So you want to live a little. Well, most of these shows have an after party. You go there, have a little fun, and then you out to the next show.
Wow.
Or there's sometimes you get the chance to go back home, and then you got to go back out on the road.
Right.
So it's all about how the tour is set up. But when you're out for like 6 months, it's all about, because there's breaks in between the shows too.
Right,
so it's all about how tense the itinerary is. So there are times I could get good sleep. There's times I did shows in the Caribbean islands, and it was 3 days apart between each show.
So you were able to get some rest and relaxation.
Yeah, and a free vacation.
Right, exactly.
I get a chance to get explored. You got the promoter trying to, round nose the artist. So they'll take, to the artist, you got to go through the entourage.
Exactly.
So I benefited plenty off of the artist going here and there and seeing sights. So sometimes it's like a free vacation, and sometimes you don't get a chance to enjoy nothing.
At all.
You out there, you do the show, you're on the plane, and that's that. So sometimes I've been to Japan and I haven't seen Japan.
Right.
And then there's times I've been to Japan and seen Japan.
Gotcha.
It's all about the itinerary.
So we got 1 minute before our break. So I want you to give me a 1 minute or less than a minute answer. You've also worked with some powerful brands, Nike, Dr. Pepper, and Coca-Cola. If you could give me a couple of seconds and just give me an idea of what you did with those brands.
With the major brands, I did commercials, industrials,
wow.
with Coca-Cola, I did an industrial in Atlanta.
What is an industrial?
An industrial is basically when a major brand has an event with the executives. They have a stage and do a presentation like Comic-Con. Comic-Con would be considered an industrial, where it's a bunch of people sitting in the audience to come celebrate something or announce an opening of something. That would be considered an industrial. So a lot of major brands would do a performance or opener or something like that to them announcing what they are either launching or celebrating or something like that.
Okay.
So that's usually an industrial, is when one of those brands put performance to sell something or launch something.
We'll be right back because we got a lot more to talk about. So stay with us, you guys. We'll be right back after this. And we're back here on Sessions Cafe with the legendary Tic Tock himself. Look at it. He's all ready to bust a move. Huh? We should have had the stage ready. Let me ask you this though. You've worked with some nonprofits as well.
Yes.
STEM from Dance and Adira Day
Adira
Dance.
Day.
Adira Day Dance. I want to make sure I pronounce that correctly. Let's talk about that because that's crucially important, bro, to me.
Well, as far as with STEM for Dance, is a magnificent program. It basically is girl-based, and the whole goal is to bring more women to STEM jobs, which the statistics is shocking. It's like only, I believe, forgive me if I'm wrong, give or take, like 3% are women.
Wow.
Out of mostly male engineers and scientists. So this particular program focused on trying to get more women interested.
Wow.
And what people don't know much is that STEM is greatly related to how you will put together a dance routine. So the STEM from dance, you know, the way you would code, like the process, the brainstorming, it's the same way you would brainstorm a routine.
Right.
So these guys put STEM teachers and choreographers together and put a bunch of women in the room, young ladies from, I believe, 6 to high school age, I would say 16, 17, and give them an experience, and side by side, have me work with the STEM teacher to a program, and then the STEM teacher work with me on the dancing so they could see the correlation of dance so they can inspire young girls. I had the pleasure of working with them for like 3 years. You know, I did their residencies and I did their summer camp.
Wow.
STEM from dance. It's very, if you have a young woman that's a young lady into that field, to introduce that, because they need more women in there, like I said. And out of the 3%, I believe 1% is people, children of color.
And what about Adira Day Dance?
Adira Day Dance, pretty much focusing on bringing the arts into public schools.
That's excellent.
You know, because right now the Board of Education don't put money, don't buy music teachers, don't hire music teachers or art teachers anymore.
Right, yeah.
So what they do is hire nonprofits to bring in teaching artists into the schools. So with Adira Day, I actually part of the program of going into city schools and bringing the arts to them.
Wow. Now I know you're a consistent teacher, dance teacher, which I applaud you on, man. A lot of artists that have gone out on the road and done huge tours and major budgeted music videos, etc. Would like to do what you're doing. Would like to be able to be to teach consistently, teach classes, dance classes. Tell me about that and your philosophy too behind teaching the art of dance.
Well, I mean, consistency is it. Like right now, at this point in my career, I'm on the inside. I choreograph. I get hired to create a show, train them, but I don't go out on the road.
Right.
I don't perform. Performing is behind me. I mean, every once in a while I will bless the stage, but I mostly go to the club to get my dance on.
Of course.
I'm the guy behind the scene, which enables me to teach consistently, you know, and able to, for me to go in because I'm not leaving for 4 or 5 months.
Right.
You ain't going until no more because you can't really educate unless you're consistent. You got to have that same teacher, that same energy pouring into the students. So that's why I'm able to teach consistently and stay at home, because that's what I do now. I'm a dance teacher, dance instructor, and a choreographer. You know, like I said, like every once in a while I'll get a project where I work around my teaching schedule and I still choreograph for artists and I still choreograph for various, and I will still work with the label, but out on a tour, that's a young person game.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Been in the game 30 years, behind the scenes now.
So, I mean, what is it like teaching? Like, you know, do you have like for those of us that don't know what it's like to take a dance class? I've been to Anthony Thomas's dance classes a couple of times, not as a student, as a witness to his genius. But like, how do you go around teaching? How do you teach a class? Explain to me how you teach a class.
Well, honestly, I feel the energy of the students, and I try to mold them into being a better dancer. Instead of them trying to fit into my bottle, you know, I try to be more like water and have them fit into their bottle and then elevate them. You know, that's my approach to teaching. most teachers come out with a choreography, boom, 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 and they just teach the routine, and whoever catches it, all right, we're going to do a video at the end of the class, put it on Instagram, boom.
Oh, you don't do it like, you don't?
No, you know, after a while, I probably videotape the class, but my thing is about growth.
Gotcha.
You know, and I want everyone to feel that growth.
Okay.
So I kind of see where my students are, at least from the weakest link, and try to build from off of there. You know, so where everyone leaves not feeling defeated.
So you focus on individuality more so than the collective choreographed routine.
I do collectively, because at the end of the day, you can't hold back everybody because of the weakest link.
Right.
But I see the weakest link, and I try to see what they need that everybody else need. So everyone could leave feeling they get something. Sometimes you can't get everybody happy because, you know, there's people that take class that shouldn't be in that level. There are beginners that will take an advanced class, and I can't dumb it down too much because there's advanced students in there.
Right.
But for the most part, I try to reach everybody in the room and elevate everyone and try to make everyone feel achievement instead of feeling defeated. And a lot of teachers these days, they don't care about that. They just care about teaching their routine. They got their 4 best students that they know got it, and they'll teach everybody else, whether anyone gets it or not, they don't really care. Right. And then they shoot their little Instagram reel, and that's the end of it.
That's the end of the class. I know this could be a long answer, but I don't want it to be because I have other questions I need to ask you.
I'll chop it down.
No. I'm saying in advance that this next question could be lengthy. But I don't want to pigeonhole you, but I'll just ask the question. Dance icons, in your opinion, not necessarily what the world perceives as being dance icons, because Lord knows my answer is definitely, if you ask me who are iconic dancers to me, you're not going to get Chris Brown. You're not going to get the names of the people that a lot of people say to. You're not going to get that, for me anyway. So what is Tic Tok's answer to his list of dance icons? And don't put yourself in the list because we already know that you're in there.
I would say as far as icon, the most is the Nicholas brothers.
Thank you.
You know, those guys were on another level that till this day I haven't seen people surpass.
Wow.
You know, they were doing a lot of hip hop moves. Like Michael Jackson, the moonwalk was not invented by Michael Jackson.
Exactly.
The moonwalk originally was called a back glide. Mm-hmm. And the back glide is a tap step.
Okay.
If
back
you see
glide.
The back glide.
Okay.
Just like there's the front glide and there's the side glide.
Okay.
The back glide.
Yeah.
That's what it was called.
Okay.
And the moonwalk is actually another move that you look like you're moving on the moon.
Right.
That's why they call it the moonwalk.
Right.
But I would say the Nicholas brothers, because if you look at this stuff and they got iconic things, the staircase thing where you see Nicki Minaj redo it and everyone did it. So I would say Nicholas brothers first.
Okay.
Secondly, I would say Bob Fosse. You know, what his work on Broadway and his hand movements and the way he would, bring life to whatever he choreographed to is awesome. And then I got to give James Brown and Fred Astaire. I put them in the same category, you know, because with the footwork and the smoothness.
Yeah.
And then if you go up to more modern and more recent, I consider him an icon, you know, is Brian Green.
Okay.
Brian Footwork Green. And then, of course, Stretch and Elite Force. Those guys are pretty much, we came in the same era. But, you know, I admire how they came together and created a foundation and gave back to the community.
Wow.
But as far as who I would look up to and who inspired me, Nicholas Brothers, James Brown, Fred Astaire, those brothers.
Okay.
I mean, there's everybody else. I kind of feel we're on the same level.
Same level, okay.
You know, honestly,
okay.
I mean, everyone can learn from everyone, but
Right.
I'm not worshiping them.
Right, I got you.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. In terms of the music video work that you've done, and we're going to take one artist that you've worked with, what's it like working on a set of a music video? So select one artist and give us that story briefly.
Okay, I would give Fabulous.
Okay.
Holla Back Youngin, the video.
Okay, yep.
We shot it in the shuttle area, the 7 train.
Okay.
The shuttle area of Grand Central.
In New York City, yeah.
Yeah, and that experience, you know, was just come in, shoot your scene, and then step out.
Okay.
You know, we was on the subway, and Fabulous did what he did. I was the actually watch. Like, I did more than just dancing there. I was like, in the beginning video, he puts up his watch. That's my hand.
That's your wrist.
That's my wrist.
That's your wrist.
Not my watch,
your wrist.
but
Right.
that's my wrist.
Right.
So that took like about 2 days.
Okay, wow.
Just to shoot like about 20 minutes of dancing, which wind up being like about a minute and a half of the video.
Right.
If you splice it up.
Yeah.
And that experience was long hours sitting and waiting and
Right.
sitting and waiting and sitting and waiting to finally, you know,
Right.
you on there. I was there. We was there for 2 days to only dance for like 30 minutes.
Right.
Spread out.
Right.
You know, and that's what that experience is. It's about sitting and waiting for the guys to come and call us up to do it.
And then of that 30 minutes, how much airtime do you get on the video? 30 seconds?
Well, it's a 3-minute song.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
3-minute song.
Yeah,
So, you
yeah.
know, I would say about 20 seconds.
Yeah, if that.
I
yeah.
mean, but we was all over that video. A lot
Yeah.
of background, a lot of stuff. So I would say about 45 seconds to 50 seconds of the 3-minute video
Okay.
spread out.
Yeah.
You know, I got my energy sprinkled out on that one.
Okay. We got 1 minute left before we have to wrap.
Okay.
One thing that sucks about doing a TV show is you're pigeonholed by time, and I got so many other things I wanted to talk to you about. But we got a couple of seconds. You've done the movie Belly, which is a legendary film.
Out in the tunnel. It was the scene that was in the club scene in the tunnel where DMX and Nas walked through.
Okay.
And they had people dancing in the back.
And you've also worked with the New Jersey Nets. I don't have time to expand on that.
Okay.
But in about 10 seconds, what would you say is the proudest moment that you've had thus far? Because your career ain't over yet.
No.
As a dancer and a choreographer, 10 seconds.
Proudest moment, I would say, is when we did the Missy Elliott Asian 2023 Asian Award.
Okay, we gotta go, brother. We gotta go. But this brother right here is a legend in his field. Those, Lord knows, those sneakers have probably seen many fascinating projects. But you and I will be back next week.
Sessions Cafe with your host, Keri D. Singleton.